Alright, it's on live.
Nak dunia belajar yang lagi seronok tak? Jom masuk ikhlas. Dengan ikhlas nak belajar secara digital di mana-mana pun mudah dan mengujikan. Seronok kan? Dekat sini ada ramai cikgu pengalaman yang sedia dan bersemangat untuk mengajar. Tak kira lah di mana-mana. Ada soalan ke tu? Cikgu terus. Ini kan tuition dalam talian. Skor dalam peperiksaan dengan bantuan cikgu tuition. Tak ada video. Soalan latih topik peperiksaan. Banyak kali tau. Tengok tu, macam-macam aktiviti dan projek ada untuk anda siap. Kuasai bahasa Inggeris dengan aktiviti bercerita dan menulis. Berlaku di Bengkel Bercerita. Menulis esei dengan hebat dalam bahasa Inggeris. Dunia sains, teknologi dan matematik juga terpusat dengan aktiviti yang sangat efektif. Komuniti kelas ni besar. Inilah masanya nak belajar sama-sama dengan kawan baru secara dalam talian. Tak kira lah sama ada nak berbincang pasal subjek baru atau cabar mereka dengan kuis mingguan. Tengok siapa boleh jadi nombor 1. Belajar secara dalam talian jadi seronok dan mudah. Kalau anda belajar dengan ikhlas, barulah boleh jadi peneraju masa depan. Bukai dunia belajar lagi seronok. Ikhlas menanti anda.
Good afternoon, teachers and students. We will start shortly, so before that, please make sure you are seated comfortably. You can have your food and drinks with you. Do make sure you have a stable internet connections. If you are with us on Zoom, interact with us through the chat section, and if you are with us on YouTube, please use the comment sections. We would love to hear your thoughts and ideas. You can also ask us any questions you may have. Stay with us until the end to learn.
Nak dunia belajar yang lagi seronok tak? Jom masuk ikhlas. Dengan ikhlas nak belajar secara digital di mana-mana pun mudah dan mengujikan. Seronok kan? Dekat sini ada ramai cikgu pengalaman yang sedia dan bersemangat untuk mengajar. Tak kira lah di mana-mana. Ada soalan ke tu? Cikgu terus. Ini kan tuition dalam talian. Skor dalam peperiksaan dengan bantuan cikgu tuition. Tak ada video. Soalan latih topik peperiksaan. Banyak kali tau. Tengok tu, macam-macam aktiviti dan projek ada untuk anda sendiri. Kuasai bahasa Inggeris dengan aktiviti bercerita dan menulis. Berlaku di Bengkel Bercerita. Menulis esei dengan hebat dalam bahasa Inggeris. Dunia sains, teknologi dan matematik juga terpusat dengan aktiviti yang sangat efektif. Komuniti kelas ni besar. Inilah masanya nak belajar sama-sama dengan kawan baru secara dalam talian. Kiralah sama ada nak berbincang pasal subjek baru atau cabar mereka dengan kuis mingguan. Tengok siapa boleh jadi nombor 1. Belajar secara dalam talian menjadi seronok dan mudah. Kalau anda belajar dengan ikhlas, barulah boleh jadi peneraju masa depan. Bukai dunia belajar lagi seronok. Ikhlas menanti anda.
Welcome teachers and students to our storytelling workshops brought to you by Maxis Ikhlas. As usual, I'm Akan and I'll be learning together with you in all workshops. Before we start our workshops today, allow me to invite all of you to our Telegram group that is specially tailored for all students, My Students Hub. All infos regarding Maxis E-Class and Maxis HIP StoryFest English competitions are in the group. And if you have any questions or issues, you can always and easily reach out to us. All you need to do is scan the QR code on the screen and you'll be there. Speaking of Maxis HIP StoryFest English competition, do you know in the competition there is a storytelling category? For those of you who are interested in joining, have you completed your submission? If not, the closing date is on 31st August 2022. So don't shy, just try. All right, before we start today's workshop, let's do a quick mood check to see how are you feeling today. Okay, take a look at this panda and share with us in the chat or comment sections which one represent your day. Okay, you may share number 1. Okay, you're feeling happy, quite happy. How about others? Which panda represent your day today? Number 9, or you're feeling sleepy? Number 1 and 6, you're feeling fine, great. All right, I can see a lot of people are feeling fine. Great to know, good to know. Okay. 6, fine, you're feeling fine, great. Okay, all right, I know we are all looking forward to the workshop today. As usual, KL Shakespeare Players is here with us today for our storytelling workshops. We will have with us today Cikgu Johnny, Cikgu M, Cikgu Sabrina, and Cikgu Emily. We'll be learning about how to open and close our story to make it truly satisfying experience for our reader. Cikgu Johnny, over to you.
Thank you very much. Well, it's great to be back again and good to see you, Ayn. Welcome to here as well. And yeah, we have our final workshop now. Can you believe it that we're already here? I wonder how many of you managed to attend all the other 3 previously. Perhaps I'll see as we look through some of the things that we learned together. So as always, I have some slides that I want to share. So if you just give me a moment, I am going to click on my slides and put them up on screen. Let me press play here. Can you see those all okay, Ayn? Yes, you can. Okay, we've got some people here saying that, yes, me, I was here for every workshop. Great, it's good to have you here again. I wonder how many of you there were. Well, if you've been here for every workshop, here we are for workshop 4, Once Upon a Happily Ever After. And we're going to be looking at how you can make your story start well and end well so that it's a really good story. All right, let's see what we mean by that. Well, do you remember the things that we have done so far? Ayn, can you cast your mind back all the way to the first workshop? What was the main learning in that workshop? What did we teach you to do?
I remember there's some things about 4 steps.
4 steps, you are right. I wonder how many people who are online here who've got access to the chat box. Did you remember the 4 steps? We've talked about the 4 steps ever since, actually. So hopefully we were making sure that we were revising and reminding you of that. But what are the 4 steps for? How are they helpful, do you think, in storytelling? How is it that the 4 steps are going to enable us to be better storytellers? What do you think, Ayn? Can you remember how the 4 steps helped you?
I think for me, the 4 steps helped me not to only, to remember the main point and also how to expand the story.
So they helped you remember the main points. Actually, we've got Arsheni here who's saying much the same thing, to remember the story well. Someone here, Hamshini, we know Hamshini from many workshops previously, and it's great to have you back, Hamshini. You're saying the flow of the story. Yeah, the 4 steps help to capture the flow of the story. Quite often, if we're going to have to retell a story that already exists, and we've got lots of ideas, we need to simplify it so that we are very clear in our mind how the story flows, its progression. So the 4 steps help us to simplify the story. Okay, once we've done that and we are clear about what's going to be in our story, we need to think about the moods. Now, how do we create moods? What do we use to create the moods? I wonder if anyone who's online here can remember that. Straight away, Arshini is in here with the 4 Ps. Yep, the 4 Ps. Does anyone remember what the 4 Ps are? What do each of the Ps stand for? Pace. Well done, Hamshini. Anyone else? Oh, Somebody doesn't remember the 4 Ps. Well, that's okay. We will revisit those a little bit today. Power, pause. So we've got pace, power, pause, and pitch. Well done. Oh, Ian, fantastic. You got all 4 there, I can see. But thank you everyone else for putting in what they remember as well. As well as the 4 Ps, which help us create the moods, stories always have characters. And we saw last time in our workshop that when we try to play the characters, then the story really comes alive. So what do we use to create characters? What do we use to create those characters in our storytelling? Can you remember from the last workshop? Anyone put something in the chat box there? Oh, somebody has put here, this Hamshini, the change of voice. That's right. We can use our voice in many different ways. And someone else has put move your body. Correct. So we think about how our character moves and how our character speaks. And when we change our voice and change our body, we start to create the character that will appear in the story. So we use our body and our voice. Well, that is what we've done in the last 3 workshops. And in this 4th one, we are now looking at Once Upon a Happily Ever After. Now, tell me, what do you think when I say that phrase, once upon a happily ever after?
I think there's something missing.
Yeah, it's familiar, isn't it? But yeah, it's the start and the end, the classic start and the end of a story. We've got somebody here, Matthew, saying it's the starting and the ending. That's right. So we've done a lot of work about the middle part of the story. We've done work on the 4 steps and the characters and the voices, but now we're going to focus on the beginning and the end. Okay, so when you've got a story, and let's say it's a well-known story, it might be a story to do with one of these characters that are appearing here. There were lots of dragon stories and superhero stories and stories of cute rabbits. But if you are taking a story that already exists, which is often a good thing to do because it saves the process of having to create the story, and you're going to tell it yourself, instead of just repeating everything that you find in the book about that story or you saw in a video, you can make it your own, your very own interpretation of the story by thinking about the beginning and the end, the opening and the close. So let's have a think about how we can do that. Do you remember these 3 stories? Do you recognize any of the characters here?
I can only recognize one, but
And
then
who's that?
the one and only Anansi the spider.
And Nancy the spider, yes. Someone else has spotted a Nancy. Let me ask you, which was your favorite story? Anyone online who has been here for all 3 workshops, which was your favorite story? Someone said the Phoenix story. What about the other stories that we have represented here? What was your favorite story? Nancy the spider. Yeah, Nancy, I find, is quite comical, right? We often like to laugh at his adventures. Somebody else said the Phoenix. Oh, we've got quite a few people saying the Rainbow Phoenix. That's between the Rainbow Phoenix and Anansi. Anyone was a fan of the cheetah story? Maybe you think it's a good story, but it wasn't your favorite out of the 3. But the cheetah story is a nice story as well. Oh, we've got somebody who's saying that they like the cheetah. Thank you. I'm sure the cheetah is very pleased to get a mention, to get noticed by you. Thank you. Well, we're going to take these 3 stories, and you may remember that we put them all down to those 4 steps. So let's have a look here. Anansi was hungry and he found a magic pot. Anansi ate from the pot every day. Anansi's wife washed the pot and sold it. Anansi's wife and children had food, but Anansi became a spider. So we did that in the first workshop. Now, you didn't see the other ones. So let's do a quick recap on those, so you could just get a grip of the story, just from the 4 steps. In the cheetah story, the man saw the mother cheetah hunting. The man stole the mother cheetah's 3 cubs. Oh, doesn't sound like a particularly heroic character, does it? Then the jackal came to help the mother, which is unusual because jackals, perhaps people think of jackals being a bit like a fox, a character that you have to be wary of, right? Or was it Musa that you have in local stories as well? Yeah, I know. And then the baby cheetahs were returned to their mother and the man was punished. Okay, so that's that story. And then a quick recap on the Phoenix story. The birds wished to have bright colors like the rainbow. They were all brown and gray and black and white-eyed. They didn't have any colors. But the rainbow began to fall apart and the birds were sad. However, in a dream, a rainbow phoenix asked for help, but only some of the birds volunteered. The rainbow phoenix was asking the birds to help to save the rainbow, which was being eaten by cockroaches. Yeah, I'm sorry to utter that word here. I saw your reaction. And some birds were too busy. Somebody has put the busy birds, or they're saying the buzzy bird. The buzzy bird is a bee, right? Okay, so in a dream, a rainbow phoenix asked for help, but only some of the birds volunteered. They cleared the rainbow of cockroaches and they returned with bright colors, because as they were up there on the rainbow, all the colors rubbed off onto their feathers. And the story is explaining how we've got brightly colored birds in the world today. It's one of those sort of what you call a pourquoi story. Have you heard that before, Ayn, about pourquoi stories?
No.
No, some people call them just so stories. Yeah, it's a story that tries to explain how things became in the world today. Oh, fairy tales. Someone's put fairy tale. Fairy tales are a little different. Fairy tales are often about somebody who's in trouble and they manage to, I don't know, marry the prince or get the gold through the use of magic in some way. Someone's put folklore. Ah, yes, all these stories that we have here, these three are folklore. Thank you very much for those observations. Really nice to know that you are on the ball as far as storytelling is concerned. Well, look, see what I've done here is I've put those 4 steps to one side like this, because we're going to think about the open and the close of this story. Imagine you chose to do Anansi and the Magic Pot as your story for the storytelling competition. There might be somebody else who chooses to do it. And if you use the 4 steps, then your story is going to be pretty much the same as the other person's. However, if we think about how we're going to open the story and close the story, then each of us can bring something new to the story, so that your retelling is your very own retelling of the story, and it will stand out from somebody else's. So let's have a look how we're going to do that. Here are some things from the story, people that you may remember, Anansi and the magic pot and the wife and the children. And I'm going to invite M, teacher M, to come on screen as well. Hello, M.
Hi, Johnny. Hello, everybody.
Are you there? I can't see you myself. Have you been spotlighted? Can we spotlight teacher M? Okay, if she's spotlighted, she should appear on everyone else's screen, even if I can't see her. So M, tell me, when you think of the story of Anansi, is there anything there that is really of interest to you, more interest than usual? Something that perhaps doesn't make sense, or something that causes you to ask a question? Because these are the things we need to think about so that we can create a new opening to the story. What are you thinking about, Em?
Hi, can you guys see me?
I can't see you, but it's fine. You keep talking.
Okay. You know, for me, what pops out in this story is that magic pot. And I wonder, you know, how did that magic pot get there underneath those leaves? Did somebody put it there? Did it fall off a wagon? What happened?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's no explanation in the story about that, is there? Oh, yeah, that is a good question. Someone suggested here in the chat box that it fell out of the sky. But that still makes me wonder, from where, from whom? Was it out of a plane? Or who was up there dropping pots? Okay, so that's interesting. Where did the pot come from? Who put it there? And there's something else about that pot as well. It can speak, right? Right, and that's what struck me, because that pot spoke to Anansi. But yes, when Anansi's wife picked up that pot, when she found it, the pot did not say anything to her. Why? That's right. And she was going to wash the pot, which would mean the magic would be washed away. If I was a magic pot and someone was going to do that to me, I'd say, stop, stop, stop. But the pot said nothing. That's right. Did you notice that? Those of you who heard the story, perhaps you could put in the chat box, did you notice that strange thing about the pot, that it spoke to Anansi, but it didn't speak to the wife? Okay. Well, some people are saying here it fell off from a witch that was magic. Someone said maybe it only talks to the person who finds it. So like if you find it in the first place, then the pot feels like it's friends with you. But then someone else comes along, it doesn't want to speak to them. That might be a good reason. And someone's put finders keepers. Someone's saying that a giant a giant threw it and it landed in the pile of these. These are all great ideas. And these are the kinds of things that you can use to put into the opening of the story to start to make it your own. But let's work with M's ideas for now so you can see her example. And then you can use your own ideas if you want to do something with the Anansi story. So M, there's just something else right in this story. He turns into a spider, and I have lots of children who ask me, why did he turn into a spider? Perhaps we can come up with a reason for that as well. Why a spider and not something else like a monkey or a slug, or he turned invisible, or he ate so much food he exploded? Why did he turn into a spider? Okay, someone's saying it's because the pot cursed him. But then the magic was washed away, wasn't it? So someone say because it's a punishment. Yeah, is a spider the worst punishment you can have? Could you be turned into something else? Someone says because spiders are skinny, but spiders have big round tummy. Anyway, let's see what M has to come up with. M, you've been hearing us talk about these things. You've been talking about it with me. Just tell me your ideas for what could come in the opening of this story.
You know, that spider theory, something I really like. What if, the person that put that pot there was an old, wise spider woman?
Old, wise spider woman. Ayn, what kind of person do you imagine an old, wise spider woman to be?
Well, first, maybe she has gray hair, and then
Gray hair.
I imagine she would be mysterious yet welcoming. I don't know.
I don't know. She sounds mysterious, maybe magical. We've got some ideas here from the students who are online. Someone says she's got long legs. Yeah, which I guess you would have if you were a spider. It's a spider woman. Someone's put Spider-Man. So maybe it's Spider-Man's mother or something. She has red hair, someone is suggesting. Someone says it's like a big, big spider with 6 eyes, which is sounding scary. Someone says she's scrawny with gray hair, which sounds a little bit like some of the ideas you were thinking, Hein. Someone says she's old, she has a hunchback. Oh, some great ideas coming in here. So let's have a look. Let's put something onto screen here. How about this for an opening? Once upon a time, an old wise spider woman wanted to help Anansi and his family. She made a magic pot that would give you whatever you asked for, but it would only speak if you asked it a question. She hid the pot in the leaves for Anansi to find. Now, I wonder what you all think of that as an opening to this story. And while you're thinking about what you will type into the chat box, I'm going to ask Ayn, what do you think about this as an opening to the story?
I think it explains more and give me like a big of a backstory.
Explains more, gives more of a backstory. You're right. Yes, we have this other character now, the old wise spider woman, who's quite mysterious coming in here. But that does suggest a reason for Anansi eventually turning into a spider. Maybe it's the magic of the spider woman. And what have we got? The pot only will speak to you if you ask it a question. And of course, the wife never even spoke to the pot. But Anansi said, what do these words mean that are written on it? And the pot spoke to him. Someone said this is intriguing. And someone else has added another part to this. They said just a point, something to remember. Anansi didn't use it properly to help his family. So let's have a quick look at this then. We've got the old wise spider woman who wanted to help Anansi and his family. She made a magic pot that would give whatever you asked for, but it would only speak if you asked it a question. She hid the pot in the leaves for Anansi to find. Anansi was hungry. He found a magic pot. Anansi ate the food from the pot every day. Anansi's wife washed it and sold it. Anansi's wife and the children had food, but Anansi became a spider. Now, and we need to think of a close to this story. And what we've got to try to make sure is that the things that we have in the close are linked to the ideas that we have in the opening. So we've got to think about a lot of stuff. The opening, the things that happen in the 4 steps, and try and put it all in together. What kind of things are you thinking about, Em?
I'm thinking in the beginning, we talk about that old wise spider woman. I'm thinking, what if she appears again in our closing, our end?
Sounds like a good way to end. Yeah, so keep going.
And what if she's disappointed in Anansi? You remember, Anansi was selfish. He only used the pot to give himself food. He didn't share it with his family.
Now, I'm just going to stop you there for a second because someone else is saying the same thing in the chat group. They're saying Anansi was cursed because he was selfish. The pot was meant to be shared with his family. So now we're getting all these ideas and this recognition of what happened in the story because of the opening. So we've got to close it now. So how could we close the story? So we got the old wise spider woman coming back in. Nancy has done something selfish. Who bought the pot from the wife?
Right.
She sold it to who?
Right. She sold it and she got a lot of money. Maybe it was the old wise spider woman who actually bought it from her so that she could help them out.
Yeah, because Nancy spoiled her plan, so she had to have a plan B. And so she saw that the pot was going to be sold. She went and bought it to make sure that Anansi's wife got some money and she would spend it on buying food for her and the children. Okay, right. So we've got here an idea that the old woman came and gave another pot. Well, maybe she has lots of pots that she magics for special reasons. Let's have a look at how we could close this then. How disappointed the old wise spider woman was with Anansi the spider. It was she who bought the pot from the wife so as to be sure that the family had enough food. Now she scooped up Anansi and put him in the pot. "You're coming with me," she said. "You have a lot to learn." Now what do you think about this as an ending? If we put the opening and close together, we've got the whole story here now, Ayn. So what do you think of this as a story, with especially that ending?
I think the ending is very interesting. It was beyond my imagination.
You didn't think of this happening, okay.
Yes. But then I think this opened up to a new journey or like a new adventure of Anansi as the spider.
Yeah, what happens to Anansi now, right? We're wondering that. Someone said here that we've got a moral value to the story. They understand from this ending that there is the teaching of don't be selfish. I guess you could see that in this story. Yeah, maybe that was in the original as well, but maybe it's clearer when we have this open and close. But maybe you see something else in the story. Maybe you think you can learn something else from it. The spider woman took him away, far, far away from his family. I wonder if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I wonder if he'll come back once he's learned his lesson. So now any kid who reads this is going to regret being selfish. They'll be frightened they're turned into a spider and taken away in a pot. Great, thank you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my slides and we're going to have something different on screen. I'm going to invite teacher Emily to come up on screen as well. And teacher Em, I'm going to ask you to do the open and close. Hi, Emily, good to see you. And I want you to watch as Emily makes freeze frames that fit with what Em is going to be saying, reminding us of this new open and new close. And as she does it, maybe you could type in the chat box to say what you think Emily is showing us in her freeze frame. Okay, Em, over to you. Let's do the opening first.
Thank you, Johnny. Once upon a time, an old wise spider woman wanted to help Anansi and his family. She made a magic pot that would give you whatever you want. But it would only speak if you asked it a question. She hid the pot in the leaves for Anansi to find.
Okay, now quickly put in the chat box for me, what did you think Emily was acting out there? She did two different positions, one at the beginning and one at the end. The pot, well, yeah, she was, because Emily, can you make your first freeze frame for us? She has the pot under her arm. She's being the spider woman. Holding the pot, someone is saying. The ideas are coming in here. Yes, she is the wise old spider woman. And let's look at your second position. Who can put in the chat box what you see that she's doing here? Remembering what happened in the story? What do you think she's doing here? People are looking, they are thinking. She's hiding the pot, someone says. Yes, hiding in the leaves. Maybe she's pushing it. Can you see the way that Emily has her hands? And you've got her head up like that. She's looking around perhaps, making sure that no one else sees it. How did the old Spider Woman know that Nancy was going to go through those particular leaves? It's a good question. Maybe that's something you'd need to think through if you were going to use this as your opening for the story. So, she's magical. So we've got some people answering that question already. She's magical. Only a Nancy can see it. All these kinds of things. Great. Well, thank you. We really have sparked your imagination. But let's look at the close now. So let's see. Are you ready, Em? Can you speak the close for us? And Emily will show us 2 freeze frames. Off we go.
How disappointed the old wise Spider Woman was with Anansi the spider. It was she who bought the pot from the wife so as to be sure that the family had enough food. Now she scooped up Anansi and put him in the pot. "You're coming with me," she said. "You have a lot to learn."
So we've got a freeze frame here. Oh, we've got 2, and then there's the one at the end. Okay, make your first freeze frame again for me. Who do we think this is? Who do we think that Teacher Emily is pretending to be in the close of the story? Any ideas? Spider Woman, someone has said. Someone else is saying Anansi. If we imagine that in her arm there, she's got, someone's got it. Here we go. The old Spider Woman is holding the pot, and Anansi is a spider. Yeah, the spider's in the pot. She's teaching Anansi a lesson. The Spider Woman holding the pot with Anansi inside. Great, thank you, everyone. Let's look at the last one. Let's have a look at our last freeze frame. And who do you think this is? I think we can all guess from the expression on that face of hers. Anansi, that's right. Anansi was scared, says somebody else. And Nancy is looking confused. Yep, fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, Em, thank you for helping us to come up with a new opening and close there. I'm going to keep Emily ready, but we're just going to look at my slides again because we're going to look at another story. So let me just share the slides with you. And here we have those 3 stories. We're going to look at the cheetah story. So if you were here with us in the workshop, you'll know the cheetah story about the man who saw the mother cheetah hunting, and the man stole the mother cheetah's 3 cubs. The jackal came to help the mother, and the baby cheetahs were returned to their mother. The man was punished. So here are the characters, the sort of key scenes in the story. So what further thoughts do you have on the cheetah story? Whilst everyone's thinking about that, I'm going to ask you, Emily, what kind of questions are you considering in this story? What's making you think?
Well, I've been wondering why the jackal was the one who went and rescued the baby cheetah. Why not any other animals?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because in the story, the mama cheetah was crying and the jackal heard the cries and the jackal came to help out. But was the jackal the only animal around in those grasslands? Surely there were some birds in the trees. Maybe there was a giraffe somewhere. Maybe there was an elephant somewhere. Maybe there were snakes in the grass. None of them came to help. The jackal came. Yeah, someone's asking how come the jackal can talk? And that's always a question with animal stories, I think. But we've got lots of things people are saying here. The man was so rude. The jackals were safe because he saw the cubs. I guess his meaning could be trusted. The jackal could be trusted because of the cubs. There are animals. It couldn't have been alone. Yeah, someone's saying it can't have been the only animal that was out there. So why was it the jackal? That's a good question for us to consider. Let's hold that in mind. Anything else you're thinking about, Emily?
Well, so there was mama cheetah and baby cheetahs. How about the father cheetah? Where was he?
True. Now, I don't know anything really about the way cheetah families work. I don't know if in the wild, it's the mama cheetah looks after the babies and the papa cheetah goes off and does hunting somewhere else on his own. I don't know how it works. So we might have to do some research there. But, you know, the mama cheetah and the baby cheetahs, they're all together. Jackal's on his own, right? Must be quite lonely for Jackal, yeah? Oh, someone here has put maybe the papa cheetah was killed. This is sounding a bit like the Lion King, maybe. This is the Cheetah King story. Okay, so what about the people, the village and the man? Is there anything you're thinking about there, Emily?
Well, so the man, how did he get his food? Had he been like stealing all his life?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a good point, because the man at the beginning of the story is too lazy to go hunting. And if the hunters come back with food, what's he been eating up until this point? You know, he had this great idea to steal a baby cheetah and train it to do hunting for him. But what was he doing before?
He
What do you
set
think?
traps.
Setting traps, maybe, yeah. Instead of going out and hunting and doing something very physical, he just set a trap and waited. And then he would
Lazy,
get the animal. Yeah. Maybe he was just eating things like mice and birds or something. Okay, right. So we've got lots of ideas there. Some people are saying maybe they shared the food in the village. Seems a bit unfair that you should share food with someone who didn't take part in any of the hunting, right? Not really contributing to anything. All right, let's see what kind of opening we can come up with. Let's try something like this. Once upon a time, there was a lonely jackal who got caught in a trap. It was one of the traps the man made. He was rescued by a mother cheetah who used her teeth and claws to set him free. Now, Ayn, what do you think about this as an opening for the story?
Yeah, I think it's great to know, and I now understand why Jackal helped Mama Cheetah instead.
We've got some people here who are saying this is very good. This is a great one. This is a very logical answer. Okay, so yes, so maybe the jackal was rescued by the cheetah, and now we have a reason, you're right, Ayn, for him to come and help. That's why he was so quick. Maybe the other animals would have come, but the cheetah was kind of looking for an opportunity to help Mama Cheetah. Sorry, the jackal was looking for an opportunity to help Mama Cheetah. Okay, so we've got all of that. So the man saw the mother cheetah hunting, the man stole the mother cheetah's 3 cubs, the jackal came to help the mother, and the baby cheetahs were returned to their mother, and the man was punished. So how's it going to end? What's our close going to be? Emily, we've got to try and make sure it all links up together. What ideas do you have for the close?
So in the beginning, there was a lonely jackal who was caught in a trap. And I believe the trap was set by the villagers. And then now the villagers must be thinking, well, let's be nice and not set traps to catch animals anymore.
Oh, okay. Yep, all right.
And
so, yes,
probably the jackal now became an uncle to all the baby cheetahs, and he was not feeling as lonely as before anymore, because now he's part of a family.
You know what? We've got other people who are putting in a similar idea in the chat box. I've got here, I think the cheetah, now they can all live happily ever after together. Happily ever after, of course, it's a classic ending, but they put in the word together there. Someone else has put, they can now live as a unit. Someone said he was their father. I'm not quite sure how the jackal was the father of the cheetahs, but he could be like an uncle, as you're saying, right? He could step in and provide a sort of fatherly figure to the baby cheetahs. The village decided to catch them instead because putting traps aren't efficient. So they changed their way. Maybe they used to use traps and then they went and decided to do hunting. But this man, he was not wanting to give up doing the traps, maybe. So it's interesting, the further ideas that the students are coming up with here. Okay, so we're going to try a new close for this story, which is going to help us to finish what we have here. The villagers decided to never use traps to catch animals again. And the jackal became an uncle to the baby cheetahs. He finally felt like he was part of a family. Ayn, what do you think of this as a story now?
My first word would be "aww."
Okay.
Yeah, I love that a new relationship is, created based on unexpected event, something like that.
Oh, yes, this could be a story that illustrates that, right? That new relationships can happen through unexpected events. I think that's very true in life. We've got some people here commenting saying this is so logical. So I assume that's a good thing. Everything makes sense to you, Matthew. And Giselle is saying it's good. Thank you. So let's see what it could look like. We're going to do a bit of freeze framing again. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides for a moment. And I will invite Teacher M to come up on screen. And we're going to do the same kind of thing. This time, Emily is going to read the open and the close of the story. And Emily's going to read, and M is going to make the freeze face. It's confusing, isn't it? I've known M and Emily for so long, and I still get M's and Emily's mixed up. Okay, so Emily, I'll hand over to you to do the open. Let's see what happens.
Once upon a time, there was a lonely jackal who was caught in a trap. He was rescued by a mama cheetah who used her teeth and claws to set him free.
Oh, wow. So did you see those two freeze frames that M made there? What did you see? Jackal caught in a trap, someone said. Yes, there was a jackal caught in a trap in the first one. How did the jackal feel being caught in the trap? We got Mama Cheetah rescuing him. Someone else has said our jackal was feeling sad. And how did you know it was Mama Cheetah? What was M doing that gave you the idea it was Mama Cheetah? How did you know? Oh, we've got jackal is anxious being said. Claws and teeth. Ah, yeah, you really were using your claws and teeth there. Look at that. Wow. Okay, let's try the close of the story now. So Emily is going to read the close, and we are going to see M make her freeze frames. Off you go.
The villagers decided not to set traps to catch animals ever again. And the jackal became an uncle to all the baby cheetahs. He finally felt like he was part of a family.
Ah, okay. So we had two positions there, two freeze frames. What did you see in the first one? How the villagers were saying no to the traps. That's right. Yep. And then the second one, the jackal is happy. Yep, we saw that quite clearly on M's face there. There's sort of like, there's a happiness of like feeling, finally I'm part of something. Finally, I'm part of a family. Yeah, jackal happy as he has found a family. But also someone here has put the villagers regret. Yep, the villagers had the regret over those traps, right? So yeah, this is a great story. Lots of changes going on for people. A very emotional story. Thank you, Em. Thank you, Emily. Now, we're going to have a look at another story and see if you, all of you who are watching us, are going to be able to come up with some ideas for an open and close to this story. Which one is it? It's going to be the third one. Can you remember what that story would be, Ayn? I know you, yeah, Phoenix. Ah, how observant of you, well done. So there we have the Phoenix story. The birds wished to have bright colors like the rainbow. The rainbow began to fall apart and the birds were sad. In a dream, a rainbow phoenix asked for help, but only some of the birds volunteered. They cleared the rainbow of cockroaches and returned with bright colors. So the first question is this. There's the pictures just to remind you of the story a bit more. Okay, I'm sorry for those who are a bit late, who missed maybe the rainbow phoenix, but you've got this synopsis of the story, a summary here in the 4 steps. Can you think of questions that you would like to answer as you create the opening of this story? Look at this story here and put your questions now in the chat box that would be something that we could try to answer by creating an opening to the story. Where does this story not quite make sense for you? What are you wondering about? What are you going to put in the chat box? Ah, someone's asking about the dream. Okay, what would you like to know about the dream, Zafir? Let's see. Put it some, what questions do you have? So what could we answer? So how come the cockroaches are in the sky? Okay, why did the rainbow fall? Well, the rainbow, I don't know if it actually fell. The rainbow started to crack, the rainbow started to dull, it lost its colors. I think the first part should be the opening. You think so? Okay, quite often that's the way it will be, but you are going to create your own story, which means you have to create your own opening, right? So we're going to add a little bit more context here. Someone's asking what the science is. Folk tales aren't very good at science. I just need to say that, right? And that's part of the fun of them, all right? It's a little bit of fantasy. It's a whole lot of fantasy, actually. So they're great stories. How come the phoenix talked through a dream? Now, this is interesting. So where's the dream come from? How come the birds had this magical dream that meant they could change things? All right, so yeah, again, we've got how did it come into a dream? So now you need to come up with an answer. Why is it the phoenix had to appear to them in a dream? Why couldn't the phoenix go to them in the first place, just come flying down from the rainbow? Okay, so we've got a long time ago, there's some birds that danced about. Yes, they wish they could have colors. That's good. But let's have some ideas about the phoenix. Can you give me some background to the phoenix? What origin story, perhaps, could you give me with that phoenix in? Anyone got any ideas? The phoenix was a spirit. Ah, okay. So maybe the phoenix is the form of the spirit that speaks to them. Some say the dream was real. Yeah, well, because the rainbow was fixed at the end, right? So maybe they did that. So let's have a think then. What could the idea be for the phoenix? Let's think. The phoenix perhaps, it's like a guardian angel. Okay, all right. So once upon a time there was a guardian, and we can be quite vague about that maybe, that wanted to, that maybe saw the birds and wanted to give them colors. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they want this guardian wanted them to have colors in the first place, but needed to create a situation where they could be given the colors, where they could gain the colors. They gained them from the rainbow. Anyone got anything you can add to that? I'm going to write this down in a moment. Okay, so the phoenix is the embodiment of the rainbow. That's true. Maybe it's the rainbow, the spirit of the rainbow itself. Okay. The cockroaches fly up to destroy the rainbow. Why? Why were they doing that? Why are the cockroaches flying up to destroy the rainbow? Why are they doing that? Because they hate it. Okay, all right. What is it that they hate about the rainbow? They want to eat it, remember? So if they want to eat the rainbow, why would they do that? Cockroaches are a nightmare. Yeah, you're right. So they can get the colors. Right. So we've got here, maybe the phoenix wanted the birds to earn the colors. Okay, so hold on to those ideas. We have maybe the rainbow wanted to share its colors with the birds. And so it allowed the cockroaches to come as a way of attracting the birds to come to the rainbow. Something like that, right? Then we have the story with the 4 steps. How's the story going to close now? We start off with the feelings of the rainbow and the rainbow observing the birds. So we've got to finish now with the idea of the birds. The cockroaches, where are they going to go now? Maybe some of them got eaten by the birds, but a lot of them got kicked off. Where are they going to go? The rainbow is happy. Great. Okay. Can we think about something that maybe happened with the cockroaches? Where did they go in the end? The cockroaches regret what they have done. Some of the cockroaches got eaten, some are saying. They fell down to the earth. Maybe cockroaches always lived in the air in this story. And at the end of the story, that's when they started living in the earth with all the dirt. Okay, great. You've given me a lot of ideas there. I'm going to take these ideas in a moment and I'm going to share them with you. But before we do that, let's just quickly recap on something. Do you remember the 4 Ps? I know that you do. So I'm going to ask Sabrina to come back onto screen or to come onto screen. She's not appeared yet today. Sabrina, teacher Sabrina, let's have you on screen. Hello there.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ain.
Hi there, Sabrina. Good to see you today. Now, I wonder if you could just quickly recap with Ain on what the 4 Ps are. I have them here as power, pace, pause, and pitch. Now, everyone who's watching, you've got to really be taking in this slide that you can see with the illustrations that help you to understand what each of the 4 Ps are. I'm going to take this off screen in a moment, and Sabrina and Ain are going to have a chat about it. So, are you ready? Sabrina, let's see how well Ain understands the 4 Ps. I'll leave it with you. I'm going to go off screen for a moment.
Sure, Johnny. All right, everyone. Do we remember the 4 Ps? Power, pace, pause, and pitch. So with power, do you remember what power is? Power is how loud and soft we speak, how much power we put into our voice. Yes, that's right, Giselle. It's like volume. And then there is also pace. Do you remember what pace is? Pace is how fast or slow we speak. So sometimes when I get really excited, I speak really, really fast. And then if I'm feeling tired or a bit sleepy, I might speak a bit slower, right? So reducing the pace. What do you think, Ain? Do you think that you speak a bit faster when you're excited?
Actually, when I'm nervous, but then yeah, mostly when I excited. But I wonder if we speak too fast, will it be like overwhelmed to our audience? Because they might not understand if we speak too fast, kan?
That's right. That is a very good point. So we need to remember that in storytelling, everything that we say needs to be really, really clear, whether it is very, very fast or very, very slow. So even though we quicken the pace, we need to make sure that we are very clear in everything we say. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Now the next P is pitch. So pitch is how high and how low we speak, depending on the character and the situation. Yes. That's right. Yes, high key and low key. And our final P is pause. That is when we stop talking. That's right. You're right. Excellent. Yes, that's when we take a break for a moment, either to emphasize a certain point or to create more importance to a scene. Yes.
Because I did attend the workshops, the previous workshops. So may I request you to show an example? How can we stop, or like how can we pause a bit in the mid of story? Maybe we can have a one-line example.
Okay. So for example, right, if we were going to start the story of the Rainbow Phoenix, we could say, long ago, there was a rainbow phoenix.
Wow.
There's a pause before I introduce the rainbow phoenix.
Oh, okay, interesting. Another question, maybe if we speak too slow, I mean the power piece. Come again, power.
Yeah, power, pace, pause, and pitch.
Yeah, I mean power. If we speak too slow, our volume is too slow. The audience might not hear us. So how can we control it?
So that's right. That's another very good point, Ain. So as we reduce our power, we still need to make sure that the audience can hear us, right? That listeners can hear the story. That's very important. Yeah.
Maybe we can use a loud whisper, for example.
A loud whisper. Yes, sometimes they call it a stage whisper.
Okay. I don't know the terms. Maybe we can have questions from others. Do you have any questions regarding these 4 Ps, maybe? Anyway? I can see someone says squeaky.
Yes.
Squeaky.
And that mics can help a lot. Well, sometimes you don't have a microphone, so you will need to adjust your power. Yes.
Scream.
Okay, I think I'm ready to share the open and close that has been created based on the ideas that we've been given by all of you who are online. So thank you very much, Sabrina. And I'd like to keep you here with me because you're going to bring a bit of life to this open and close as we think about what the mood might be. So are you ready? Everyone, you'll see what I have managed to capture from your ideas. I think there's lots of things that could have been said, but this is what I have got. Let me, there we go, press play. Now, let's see. Can you see I've got a new open and close here? And the rainbow saw how much the birds loved colors and wanted to share her colors with them. She came up with a plan to use the cockroaches to create a problem, giving the chance for the birds to show their value by whether they would help or not. So she's not just going to give the colors out just to everyone. It's going to be those that show that they truly value colors. The birds wished to have bright colors like the rainbow. The rainbow began to fall apart and the birds were sad. And in a dream, a rainbow phoenix, and remember the ideas that you had, I haven't got enough space for it at the top, but we could slot it in here when we did our storytelling. We might say that the rainbow showed herself to the birds in the shape of a phoenix in a dream. And there she asked for help, but only some of the birds volunteered. They cleared the rainbow of the cockroaches and they returned with bright colors. The cockroaches that were not eaten fell to the earth. And nowadays they live in the dark and dirty places. So you notice there, I managed to make sure we got the cockroaches at the beginning and at the end. So the open and the close. I could put a little bit more information in there if I had a bit more time. And maybe you could think of something else that you could put in there. But here we have a real twist on this story, where the rainbow wants to share the colors and uses the cockroaches in some ways to bring about their plan, and the cockroaches end up living in dark and dirty places. I'm not sure it's a great thing for the cockroaches, but I think there's a lot of people who don't like cockroaches anyway. So now, what do you think, Sabrina, just as we finish off here, what would be the mood of the opening of this story? And please, if you're watching this, maybe you could put in your ideas for the mood, and I will tell Sabrina those as they come in. What kind of mood would you have at the beginning of this story, do you think, Sabrina? Now, I think you need to unmute. For some reason, you've gone on mute. So let's try again, because that means your power is very low. I can hardly hear you.
It was non-existent, right? So I think the opening is a magical mood.
Magical mood. And now, how are you going to create a magical mood?
Oh, I think with power, we will have greater power.
Okay.
Right. And maybe a slower pace to give that magical feeling.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Someone's saying here you could use pause. They're not giving me any clues on how to use pause.
Yes.
But where would you use pause, do you think? We're pausing now as we think.
Yes. How about with pitch?
Well, certainly we can combine things. And that's something to remember, is that quite often when we are creating mood, we are combining the 4 Ps. Someone said it could be a medium pitch, somewhere in the middle, someone said. Someone says pause at the entrance of the story. Certainly you can always pause before you speak. That is always good. So you get yourself together, your concentration is there, and you're ready to go. But quite often also we can pause before we're going to say something important, or we can pause afterwards if we want people to just think about what we've said. So we'll see what Sabrina does with the pause when she does the open. Someone's saying not too high, not too low. Yep, that's good. But if we do that, we've got to make sure we do use some high and some low, so that we ensure it's interesting. Otherwise, I'm speaking like this, where my pitch is the same all the way through, and I sound like a robot. Okay, someone's saying getting slower and softer at the end. Oh, that's an interesting way. That would certainly make it sound a bit mysterious, I think. Yeah, okay. Are you ready, Sabrina? Can you see the words written there?
Yes, so I'm reading out the whole thing, Johnny.
Just read out the opening for me.
Okay.
All right, over to you.
All right. The rainbow saw how much the birds loved colors and wanted to share her colors with them. She came up with a plan to use the cockroaches to create a problem, giving the chance for the birds to show their value by whether they would help or not.
Okay, Ayn, what kind of mood do you think that was? What sort of feelings are you getting from the way Sabrina spoke there?
I think I can't think of anything.
So sometimes it's hard for us to put into words how we feel. Yeah, and so what I'm picking up here is there's some of the words we've got given to us here by those who are online. So we've got suspicious, interesting. Yes. We've got magical, mysterious, suspenseful, magical. Good. I think that's what you were aiming for there, Sabrina. So well done. And I noticed that I felt it got a bit more magical as it went on. It seemed to get a little softer, a little slower. So I was starting to think, where's this going? What's going to happen? So we have that as our opening. Can we do the close now? What kind of mood do you think would be at the close there with cockroaches that have fallen to the earth and are living in the dark and the dirt?
I think that the close is a bit of a spooky mood.
Oh, okay.
Feels to me.
So you're going to finish off by spooking your listener.
I'm spooking my listeners,
one of our workshops. Okay. All right. Well, look, time is running out, so I'll just let you go for it. Okay. So everyone ready? Let's listen to Sabrina as she gives the close of this story.
The cockroaches that were not eaten fell to the earth, and nowadays they live in the dark and dirty places.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there's a cockroach near me, by the way you said that. I'm feeling like cockroaches are crawling about somewhere in the shadows. I'm hoping not. How did you feel when you heard that, Ayn?
I feel chills.
Oh,
You've got people here saying spooky, dark, like an evil witch telling the story. Wow, you really created a mood there. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sabrina. Thank you for bringing some mood to this story with the 4 Ps. Well, we are coming to the end of our workshop now, I'm afraid. And I wonder how it was for you now, thinking about Once Upon a Happily Ever After. I hope that you understand now how you can make a story start well and end well so that it's a really good story. You see how those stories were, could we say, improved by the new opening and new close we gave, but also those stories became our own. No one else had done that to that story before. Wow. So Ayn, have you enjoyed that experience?
Yeah, I really enjoy. And one thing that I realized is that actually we can make this well-known, this well-known folk tales or folklore in our own version by answering the questions that we ourselves like generate the questions,
Yes, that's right. Quite often when you hear a story, you say, hang on a sec, that bit didn't make sense, or where did they come from, or how come this? And so when you ask those questions, you can generate your new open, new close, and you create your own version. Great. Well, yes, this is the last workshop, sadly, but we do have a video that goes with this as well, a follow-up video, which is called Exciting Entrances and Exits. And just as you were saying there, actually, Ayn, we're going to do 3 examples in this video of good opening and closing to some well-known stories. I'm sure you've heard of Jack and the Beanstalk, Little Red Riding Hood, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Well, if you watch our video, you'll see that getting a good opening and a good close to each of these stories helps to make the story a little different again, even though you may have heard it hundreds of times before. So make sure you watch that video. And you know what? We have 2 bonus videos, extra videos for you. And these are really to help you with your storytelling as you prepare for the competition. The first one's called Now Fairy Tales Come to Life. And in that one, we will show you how you can use everything that you've learned, a reminder of everything you've learned and how to apply it to a story, a well-known story. Okay, I won't tell you which one it is. You'll have to have a look, but it will make fairy tales come to life. And then finally, Star of Stage and Screen. How can you be a great storyteller speaking to screen or speaking on the stage? Well, you need to have some exercises that can help you prepare for your storytelling, because you may be nervous before you speak. And so we have some exercises to help you to calm your nerves. And we also have some warm-up exercises for you to make sure that your voice is ready to do some good speaking. And then you can be a great storyteller and perform at your best for the storytelling competition. Great. Well, thank you ever so much. We at KL Shakespeare Players have been so pleased to be part of this program with Maxis E-Class to provide for you these workshops and these videos. And we look forward to seeing what stories you are going to create now. Thank you very much, Ayn.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me just share my screen back. Wait. Inside. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Cikgu Johnny, Cikgu Cikgu Emily, and Cikgu Sabrina for the engaging and brilliant sessions. Okay, adik-adik, as Cikgu Johnny shared just now, a recording of these workshops, all previous workshops, and all other practice videos are on Maxis E-Class. So don't forget to watch it all there. If you haven't registered yourself, please do so. You will not miss out, okay? All right. Tomorrow, we'll be having our last 2022 Maxis E-Class workshops on essay writing. I hope to see all of you there. Okay, one final thing before we end. As usual, we have e-certificate for those of you who joined us. All you need to do is complete the feedback form at the link on the screen here. And you can also scan the QR code to go to the feedback form. And you need to make sure to complete the form before 5 p.m. tomorrow. I repeat, before 5 p.m. tomorrow, please complete the feedback form. and your e-certificate will be emailed to you within 5 working days. So please make sure the email address that you've given is correct, and don't forget to check your spam or junk folders. Sebab sometimes our email will end up there. You can also go, Cikgu Stephanie, you can go to the Cikgu Hub Telegram group and reach out to us there, and my friend will help you. Maybe after this, okay? For students, you can go to the Telegram group Students Hub to ask any questions, or if you have any issues, you can ask there. Okay? All right, sure. QR code be in Maxis e-class? I don't think so. It is best for you to just scan it right now or copy the link. Yeah, copy the link. Maybe you can copy the link that shared by Maxis e-class. You're welcome, Ian, sorry. Yeah. Have everyone get the feedback form? I'm gonna take that as a yes. All right, see you all again at the same. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, see you all again at the same time and place tomorrow. Thank you and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye. Bye. Giselle, if you've done copy the link, you let me know, okay? Okay. Bye-bye, everyone. See you all again tomorrow.
Nak dunia belajar yang lagi seronok tak? Jom masuk ikhlas. Dengan ikhlas nak belajar secara digital di mana-mana pun mudah dan mengujikan. Seronok kan? Di kat sini ada ramai cikgu di pengalaman yang sedia dan bersemangat untuk belajar. Tak kira lah di mana-mana. Ada soalan ke tu? Cikgu terus. Ini kan tuition dalam talian. Skor dalam peperiksaan dengan bantuan cikgu tuition. Nota ada, video ada, soalan latih di peperiksaan ada dan banyak lagi tau. Tengok tu, macam-macam aktiviti dan projek ada untuk anda sesama. Kuasai bahasa Inggeris dengan aktiviti bercerita dan menulis. Berlatih di Bengkel Bercerita. Menulis esei dengan hebat dalam bahasa Inggeris. Dunia sains, teknologi dan matematik juga tak bosan dengan aktiviti yang sangat interaktif. Komuniti ikhlas ni besar. Inilah masanya nak belajar sama-sama dengan kawan baru secara dalam talian. Tak kiralah sama ada nak berbincang pasal subjek baru atau cabar mereka dengan kurs mingguan. Tengok siapa boleh jadi nombor 1. Belajar secara dalam talian jadi seronok dan mudah. Kalau anda belajar dengan ikhlas, barulah boleh jadi peneraju masa depan. Terukai dunia belajar lagi seronok. Ikhlas menanti anda.